That sounds right to me because definitely it says it also said committed your soul to God, right? So you commit it to God or you can not commit it to God. I guess probably not committing it would be selling your soul.
Okay. Uh, and what do you think the consequences of that would be?
Lake of fire.
Lake of fire.
That's where you lose your soul at, right? That's where the souls of men are tossed into the lake of fire.
Okay. So as far as the lake of fire goes, okay, there's a lot of confusion because a lot of people think that the lake of fire is hell.
No, because hell and death are thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the final destination.
So then what would hell be?
Hell is hell is like a temporary place. I guess where I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know where hell is. But it says I know Revelation 20:14 says death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. It seems like death and hell are associated together. You know, like that death is hell.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that the soul seems like it's put into a holding cell. And some people say that there's a good holding cell and there's a bad holding cell. Like there's hell, and then I guess they would call the other one paradise.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
kind of yeah. It kind of sounds like yeah. You know, I've done a real good study on that. But right, Lazarus, right? Lazarus, the beggar that was at the gate of the rich man. He wasn't in hell. He was in the bosom of Abraham, right? So I never did a study on that. But that's something that I need to do. I see, because that opens up a whole new thing. Like the rich man was in hell, right, begging for water, and Lazarus was in the bosom of Abraham. What does that mean? Is he in paradise? He's not in paradise. He's somewhere, but it's not paradise. I don't think.
That pastor, that DBTM pastor, the one who told me to run away from,
Yeah.
he kind of explained some of that stuff. You might want to.
Might want to run away from that too. Well, we'll see. Hey, yeah, I always, you know what? You always pick up things from people. I don't say don't listen to anybody. I just say be careful what they try to teach you.
Right, yeah, no, and I totally agree. But he kind of says stuff about this little thing,
Yeah.
and it's all kind of confusing because like I said, there's a lake of fire, there's hell, there's paradise, there's lost souls, there are non-lost souls, so it can all be very confusing. So,
Yeah.
like I said, what we're trying to do is kind of figure this out, and like you said, that might be something that you might want to look into a little bit further.
Oh, certainly for me it is. I don't know anybody else. Hip hop have an idea about that? I don't know. I've never studied that like in detail.
No, I haven't either.
When Scripture uses the Hebrew word Sheol for hell, it's synonymous with death in the grave. And when Scripture uses the Hebrew word Gehenna for hell, or even the word Tophet, it's synonymous with the lake of fire. Going back to Scripture's use of the Hebrew word Sheol for hell, we see several scriptures that shows us how the word Sheol is associated with death or the grave. 2 Samuel 22, 5-6. And when the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly man made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. Psalms 18, 4-5. The sorrows of death compassed me. The floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. Psalms 116:3. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell gat hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. Proverbs 5:5. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold of hell. Proverbs 7:27. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Proverbs 9:18. But he knoweth not the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. Isaiah 28:15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we in agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come upon us. We have made our lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. And finally, Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who lodgeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All these equate Sheol with death and the grave, and is translated into the word hell. Sheol, hell, death, the grave are not burning with fire, but are blackness of darkness, total separation from the light of God. Now let's review some scripture that proves this point. Jude 1:13, 14, and 15. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. 2 Peter 2:17 and 18. These are all wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the midst of darkness is reserved forever. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from those who live in error. Being cast into the lake of fire is an act of mercy, to end the suffering, or should we say, to prevent the suffering of the unrepentant sinner from an eternity of dwelling in the blackness of darkness forever. Revelation 20, verse 12 through 15. I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of these beings, which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead, which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead, which were in them. They were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The lake of fire, Gehenna, are one and the same, also called Tophet. Here are some scriptures proving this point. Matthew 5:30. If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of these members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Matthew 23:30. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Matthew 10:28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him which shall destroy both body and soul in hell. Luke 12:5. But I will forewarn you whom you shall fear. Fear him which after have killed have power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. The parable of Lazarus and the rich man appears to be a parable of the resurrection and the two final destinations for man, death in the lake of fire, or life in heaven on earth with God. Remembering that the name Lazarus is used for the poor beggar, as well as the one that Jesus loved, we raised from the dead. Lazarus, who God helps, a form of the Hebrew name Elazar, inhabitant of Bethany, beloved by Christ, and raised from the dead by him. A very poor, wretched person to whom Jesus referred to in Luke 16:20-25. There is no good or bad holding place for the soul. Scripture says the dead know nothing until the resurrection. If the unrepentant sinner was not destroyed in a lake of fire, he would be resurrected to dwell in eternal darkness forever. Ecclesiastes 9:5. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Is the lake of fire eternal burning in hell? No. Eternal punishment is the end of the life of a soul, that there is no coming back from, no more second chance. Matthew 25:45-46. Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.